Okay, welcome back. So last week we let you know that we had started a series and that we were going to talk about all things premarital. So today we want to take some time to talk about the choices that you've made and giving you confidence, both that you've chosen a compatible spouse, but also give you the tools to discern problems that may arise or may have already arisen, but ways that you can kind of discuss that and talk about it.
Yeah. Well, we recognize that new relationships come with a lot of warm fuzzies and it's really exciting, but sometimes it can cloud our judgment.
Yes.
So we just wanted to give you a couple of ways to think about that and put it in perspective before you get to that big day.
Yeah, so definitely understanding what your non-negotiables are first is super important, and we really want to emphasize that when we're thinking about non-negotiables, it should not be exhaustive. No one is perfect, including you, so let's not expect perfection in whoever we are looking to marry.
Right.
So understanding that this list should be short, it should be to the point, and it should be very specific to you.
Yeah, and should align with your values.
Yes.
So examples could be like actively following Jesus, could mean shared visions of what marriage looks like.
Wanting children.
Right, what your life's going to look like
Yes.
Down the road.
Yes, those kinds of things that affect your dreams for your life, your vision for your life, and again, should align with your values and should align with your spiritual beliefs.
Right.
So if you are a follower of Jesus, then your values will align with that, and your spouses should as well.
Right.
So I think that's all we're going to say about non-negotiables. Again, it should be very specific to you, but these are things that you are not willing to compromise on.
Exactly, yeah. And then red flags are a little different. So with non-negotiables or things you don't ever compromise on, red flags are just areas that perhaps you need to have a bigger conversation about, or perhaps seek some counseling, or seek a mentor, seek someone wise in your life that can help navigate you and or your spouse through that.
They don't need to spell disaster,
Right.
but they also shouldn't be ignored.
Right, so things like family conflict or how your spouse interacts with their parents, that's a big one. What's the age-old saying that the way your husband treats their mom is the way they're going to treat you, right? So it's something to consider when you're in a relationship.
Yeah, how your potential spouse manages conflict, how he deals with, or she deals with anger, or how he treats others, not just how he or she treats, their family, but how do they interact with others on an interpersonal level, or figures of authority? That's a big one too.
Right, and how they manage their money, how they manage their social life, what is their idea of a good time.
Any kind of addictive behavior would be a red flag to just address. Any signs of past betrayal, whether it's you or someone else, that might just be like something that, again, any warning bells that might be going off in your mind, as subtle as they might be, it might just be a quick conversation. It might be, like Lauren said, something that you want to get a mentor to kind of talk to the two of you about, get counseling on. The bottom line is, let's just not sweep these issues under the rug.
Right.
So that we can kind of get them out in the open.
Yeah. So what do you do when you've found those things? When you've identified these areas and perhaps you have a conversation but it doesn't go very well, what do you do with that?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard to have these conversations. It's hard to approach those conversations. It's, we sometimes fear the reaction that our spouse will have. But I think at the end of the day, we have to understand that if you are looking towards marriage and a lifelong commitment with someone, you've got to look at the long game.
Right.
You've got to look at the long-term effects of potentially choosing someone who doesn't have self-control. Like maybe they have an anger issue. Maybe they don't understand what a functional family looks like. Maybe they have issues in their past that they just haven't dealt with that maybe you could even help with.
Maybe you have those issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So also, understanding that we're not looking for someone perfect causes us to realize, wait, am I the spouse that I want to be for someone else? And we want to make sure that we're approaching this with humility, we're approaching it with grace, and we're realizing just because I have a warning bell doesn't mean I'm writing this person off.
Absolutely. And I think it goes back to what we said in our last video too, that this is a time to invest in your marriage. Before you get married, before that wedding day, now is the time that you're laying that foundation for your relationship. And so the way you handle these things now is going to predict how it's going to be handled later.
Yeah, exactly. So that foundation of we talk about things, we discuss things and get them out in the open.
Right.
And you're starting that pattern now, which is a really, really healthy pattern to have in any relationship.
Absolutely.
So red flags, talk about them. Non-negotiables, know what they are. It would be helpful to have someone else know what they are so they can hold you accountable to those when our judgment does get a little bit cloudy, and that's a human thing. We've all been there. So be strong, be courageous, and be willing to have those hard conversations.
Yep. So next week we're going to be talking about the learning curve and kind of giving grace through this season of transition and time.
Yes.
So we look forward to seeing you then.
Yeah.